Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Fan. This is the video for week 2, day 1. For today, we use multiple collaboration board to practice forming observation, inference, and hypothesis. Let's take a look at this picture. What is an observation you can make about this picture? Pause the video and think about it. An observation that we can make is that there is a car crash. We can also see that there are 8 trees. There is also a person in the phone booth. All of this are observation you can make. Let's review the 2 types of observation. Qualitative observation, again, are things that we can measure and we can count. In this picture, a qualitative observation we can make is that there are 8 trees in the back. There is 1 dog. All of these numbers are qualitative observation. Second, quantitative observation is something they can describe. A quantitative observation you can make in this picture is we can see that there is a person that is injured. We can see that there is blood on his forehead. That is an observation we can make. Again, observation and inference are different. Observation is what you are seeing in this picture. It's something that it's a statement that you make using your 5 senses. Inference is a prediction that you are making based on your observation. Based on this picture, what is an inference that you can make? Think about it. An observation that we can make in this picture is that this person in the phone booth is calling 911 because someone is hurt. We can also make an inference that perhaps the truck didn't stop for the stop sign and thus the car crash happened. Again, we cannot be 100% sure whether the inference is correct or not, but it is a prediction that we are making. Next, we have hypothesis. Hypothesis is an educated guess based on your observation. It can follow the format of if, then, and because. A hypothesis that I can make here is that if the person is in the phone booth, then this person must be calling 911 because we need the police to help with this car crash. You can also make another hypothesis based on that. Next, I'll be showing you a video, and during the video, I want you to notice the following vocabulary: problem, observation, inference, hypothesis, variable, experiment, result, conclusion, and theory.
Yeah, I know you've been watering it. I'm not sure what's wrong. Dear Tim and Moby, what is the scientific method? From Marcy. The scientific method is the procedure scientists use to help explain why things happen the way they do. When people are trying to understand the world around them, they often come across problems that they just don't know the answers to. This is where the logical, step-by-step method of scientific problem solving comes into play. Like Moby here. He seems to be having a problem with his plant. The first step in scientific problem solving is to recognize the problem. Right. The plant is dying even though it's getting water every day. Why? To solve this problem, we first need to understand what we already know. Okay, plants need water. What kind of plant is that? Fig tree, right. Now we need to make some observations about the plant. The leaves are brown and falling off, and the soil is wet and squishy. Next, we make an inference. An inference is a conclusion about our observations. From what we've observed, we could infer that Moby is watering his plant too much. Now we translate our inference into a hypothesis. Well, a hypothesis is a testable explanation for the details you observe. What about fig plants do best if you only water them once a week? Sure, it's just a guess, but after our observations, at least it's an educated guess. We'll need to come up with an experiment to test this hypothesis. Here's the plan. We've got 4 healthy fig plants marked A, B, C, and D. They have the same type of pot, the same soil, and they're getting the same amount of sunlight. The only variable, or thing that changes, will be the amount of water they receive. Plant A will not be watered at all. Plant B will be watered every day. Plant C will be watered 3 times a week. And Plant D will be watered just once a week. We'll check back in a month to see what's happened. What do you know? It's been a month, and I'm still wearing the same shirt. Let's record some new observations. Plant A doesn't look too good. Plant B doesn't look so hot either. Plant C looks a little better. Whoa there, Plant D is doing all right. Time to analyze our data. Based on this experiment and our observations, it looks like the fig plant did best when it was only watered once a week. From that, we can make a conclusion. Of the 4 watering schedules we tested, fig plants seem to grow best when they're watered once a week. Well, yeah, to be really sure, we should repeat this experiment several times just to rule out accidents and variables we may have forgotten to consider. If the experiments don't support the hypothesis, then the hypothesis has to be rethought. Back to the drawing board, so to speak. But if lots and lots of experiments do support the hypothesis, then that hypothesis can eventually become a theory. Well, in science, a theory is an explanatory statement that's been repeatedly confirmed through experimental testing. If a theory is proven valid over and over again, it becomes an accepted piece of scientific knowledge. In the strictest sense, there's really no such thing as scientific fact. Scientists are always learning new things about the world around us, and you never know when they may find some new bit of evidence that forces us to redefine our understanding of the world. Right, using the scientific method can help you be right more often, and not just in science class. You just have to make sure you do all the steps. If you form a hypothesis without making any observations, then you really are just guessing. And you'll never know if your hypothesis is true or not without testing it with an experiment.
Which vocabulary did you hear from the video? Share with someone next to you a vocabulary that you heard in the video. Next, we'll go over the brain pop quiz. Feel free to pause after I read the questions so you can make your guess before we go over the answer. Number 1. What is the difference between a hypothesis and a theory? What is the difference between a hypothesis and a theory? The difference between hypothesis and theory is that theories have been confirmed through tests, hypotheses haven't. Number 2. Place the following step in sequence. A. Recognizing a problem. B. Testing a hypothesis. C. Drawing an inference. The order would be A. Recognizing a problem. After you recognize a problem, you will make your observation and inference. Then you test your hypothesis. So the correct order would be A, C, and B. Number 3. In the phrase, the scientific method is an analytical process for determining why things happen. What is the best synonym for analytic? Synonym is another word that has the same meaning. The answer will be D, logical. Number 4. What must you do before making a hypothesis? A. Run an experiment. B. Make observation. C. Form a theory. Or D. Draw conclusions. Before you make your hypothesis, you always want to make your observation and inference first. So the answer would be B. Number 5. If you were running an experiment to determine the temperature at which beans sprout the fastest, what will be the variable? Since you are running an experiment to determine at what temperature the bean will grow the fastest, the variable will be D, the temperature at which the bean is kept. Number 6, you should run an experiment several times to make sure your results are consistent. In the preceding phrase, what does consistent mean? Consistent. Consistent means unchanging, so the answer would be C. Every time you do the test, the result should be the same. Number 7, what might cause a theory to change over time? A, new law passed by the government. B, new but untestable ideas. C, changes in public opinion. Or D, the discovery of new evidence. The answer is D, the discovery of new evidence. As we have more evidence and also as we have more advanced tool, we are able to do experiments that we couldn't done before, so we are able to disprove theories. Number 8, evolution is one example of a theory. From what you know about the scientific method, what can you conclude about this biological theory? Because it is a theory and not a hypothesis, a theory is confirmed after being tested many times, so that will be A, it has been tested many times. 9. Which of the following is a testable hypothesis? A and C are opinion. Some people believe roses are more beautiful, some people like violet more, some people like neither one of them. Ice cream is delicious too. It is a popular opinion, but perhaps not everyone thinks that ice cream is delicious. D could be a testable hypothesis in the future, but not as of this moment. So, out of A, B, C, and D, the testable hypothesis would be B. A plant needs at least 5 hours of sunlight per day to grow. Number 10, what happens if you test a hypothesis multiple times and the data doesn't support your prediction? Should you A, change your data to support your prediction? B, run the experiment again until you get the results you are looking for? C, conclude that your hypothesis cannot be proven? Or D, rethink your hypothesis? If you test your hypothesis multiple times and your data doesn't support your hypothesis, then you should definitely rethink your hypothesis. With that, let's take a look at your assignment for today. To access your assignment, make sure to go to Google Classroom, go to Classwork, go under Week 2, Day 1 Assignment, Scientific Method. In this assignment, you will first practice making observation and inference. You'll also practice matching different scientific method vocabulary with scenarios. If you get any points that is lower than 7 points, make sure to rewatch the video and try again for a higher score. The way that you check your score is after you finish, it will say your response has been recorded. Take a look at view score. Make sure you get 7 points or higher. If not, you can go to the bottom and say edit your response. The assignment will be due on Thursday, 8 a.m. for the odd period class and Friday by 8 a.m. for the even period class. After the due date, again, you do have another week to turn it in for 70% points of the original score. That's it for today. Have a great day.